Okay, hello everybody. This is week 11 lecture summary for bu1003 and bu1903. This week we will look at SAD model to analyze how the economy responds to an external shock using the aggregate supply and aggregate demand model that we developed last week. And in particular, we will talk about monetary policy and the physical policy. Okay, so we know that we can use aggregate supply, aggregate demand model to describe the economy from two angles: price and output. So we have price on the vertical axis, output of aggregate demand on the horizontal axis. Aggregate demand curve, downward sloping. Show long aggregate supply curve, upward sloping. Long aggregate supply curve, which is vertical. And now economy is and is long equilibrium. At point A, output is at natural level. The associated unemployment rate is at its natural rate as well. Okay. Let's first look at a shock from, say, demand side. An adverse demand side shock. So we have an adverse demand side shock. For example, export decrease due to the appreciation of exchange rate, Australian dollars. So now aggregate demand side so for some reasons export, we know aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus G plus net export. So this decreases, so this aggregate demand curve will shift to the AD shift to the left. So we see that economy move from point A to point B. Price drops, output decrease. So in the short run, economy move from point A to point B, i.e. price drops and output drops, unemployment increase. In the long run, we see that consumer observe price drop, which leads to consumer to revise downward the expected price drop. Then, which end up in the wage bargaining, firms will offer a low wages because they are going to say that the price drops, so wage rate drop. So wage rate drop, firms respond to wage rate drop, which is a drop in production cost, by increasing the aggregate supply. So short run aggregate supply shift right. So this is show long aggregate supply curve. Let me use green color. Shift to the right. It should shift such that the economy go back to its long run equivalent. So at point C. So we see that price further drop, output goes back. So economy move from B to C, namely price keep dropping, output go back to natural level output, and unemployment rate go back to natural rate of unemployment. And we should note that at C, consumers again get the expectation correct, which means expected price is equal to price. Okay, so that's how the economy respond to an adverse demand side shock, which shift the aggregate demand curve to the left. And you can do an exercise by yourself to see what happened if there's a favorable demand side shock. For example, like export increase, let's shift the aggregate demand curve to the right and see what happened in the short run and what happened in the long run. Okay, so that's first shock, an adverse demand side shock. Second shock, let's say there's adverse supply side shock. So we have the economy like this, starting from a long equivalence. Point A. Okay, now there's an adverse supply side shock. For example, like oil price increase. Say oil price goes up. You know, oil is inputs of the production. So oil price supply side. Oil price increases means input and the production cost increases. So this show long aggregate supply curve shift left. Economy move along the demand curve to point B, from point A to point B. Move from point A to point B. We see that output decreases, price goes up. Price goes up, output decreases, unemployment increases. And this is bad. On the one hand, we see everything become more and more expensive. There's inflation happening in the economy. On the other hand, we see that the economy contracts. The output decreases, unemployment goes up. There are people who want to find a job but couldn't find a job. So we call this stagflation. So unemployment goes up, inflation rate pi goes up. Stagflation, the economy it goes from bad to worse. Okay, so if the government does not intervene, we should see that this economy may the short-long aggregate cycle might further shift to the left. Eventually, it's going to stay there at a certain point, at a certain point along this, say maybe at here C or whatever it is. So either way, we see that the economy has a typical stagflation feature here. Namely, we have a high unemployment in the economy and high inflation rate, too high. So that's bad. Given this, the government might say, okay, we got to do something. Through either fiscal policy or monetary policy, say, let's negate this supply side shock, adverse supply side shock through aggregate demand. So we can do, say, shift this aggregate demand curve to the right. So the economy can move from point B to point C. Government intervene, shift aggregate demand curve to the right. So we see that economy move from point B to point C, i.e. price keep going up. Output goes up, go back to the natural level. So now we see that the cost of this policy intervention, on the one hand, output goes up, go back to its natural level output, unemployment drop, goes back to its natural rate unemployment. So that's benefit. Cost is, on the other hand, price keep increasing. So there's an even higher level of inflation in the economies. Okay, so this is how we can use this ASAD model to analyze the shocks from both supply side and demand side. And we see that the government can play a very important role in managing the economies. The government can do so through two channels, two tools here. First one we call it monetary policy, which is managed by RBA, it's a bank. Second one is through fiscal policy, which is by the treasuries or Department of Finance. Let's look at monetary policy. What is monetary policy? It's basically the decision on the interest rate, on the money supply and money. Or particularly in Australia, it's called the cash rate. Or this is equivalent to decisions on money supply. Okay. Let's look at money market. So we look at the money market from the perspective of interest rate or cash rate and the quantity of money. In the money market, there's money demand and the money supply as well. So money supply is a policy variable. It is determined by by RBA. RBA can decide how many money they want to have the economy, and they want to have in the economy. So which means money supply is vertical in the interest rate money space. Money demand. There are several factors can affect money demand. First one is it depends on interest rate. It's a function of interest rate. So the higher interest rate, interest rate goes up, higher opportunity cost of holding money. Because otherwise you can say deposit your money in the bank and earn an interest payment. So high interest rate means that a high opportunity cost. So everything else being equal, you will reduce the holding of the money. Money demand decreases. So say this is interest rate money. Initially, interest rate is this many, money demand is this many. Now this interest rate goes up. Interest rate goes up. The opportunity cost of holding money goes up. So people respond by reducing the money holding. So it's this point. Link this point together, we get the money demand. So that's money demand. So money demand is downward sloping. There are also other factors can affect money demand as well. For example, the price level. Everything else being equal, price goes up. Everything becomes more expensive. So you need to hold more money to deal with the transaction that you want to have. So money demand increases. Okay, let's look at the money market from the interest rate money perspective. So there's money supply, there's money demand. So equilibrium is at this point A. So which means equilibrium interest rate is this many, money supply and the economy is this many. It's IO and MO. Okay, if the price increases, so at point A, okay, I'm going to have another diagram, which is output, aggregate demand, and price space. So at point A, there's associate price level, let's call it PO. Associate aggregate demand, YO. So now, the money demand, the price goes up, so money demand goes up, which means that at every interest rate level, there's more money demand, more demand for money now. So this money demand curve shift to the right. So we see that the interest rate goes up. Interest rate goes up, the cost of investment goes down. Interest rate goes up, the cost of investment goes up. So I goes up. Cost of investment. If you borrow from bank, previous bank charge you an interest rate of 10%. Now they will charge you an interest rate of 12%. So cost goes up. So everything else being equal, investment goes down. This results in aggregate demand goes down. So aggregate demand, so price goes up, aggregate demand goes down. Link them together. So this is point A, this is point B. We get the AD curve. Alright, so let's money market. and its relationship with the aggregate demand. Let me withdraw this money market. Okay, suppose now say Reserve Bank RBA want to cut interest rate. So in order to push this equilibrium interest rate downward, the RBA need to shift. This is equivalent to saying that shift this money supply curve to the right. So this is the same as shifting money supply to the right. So we call this expansionary monetary policy. Okay. Similarly, RBA can raise the interest rate, and this is equivalent to say. This is the same as saying that shift this money supply curve to the left. And we call it contractionary monetary policy. Alright, so that's monetary policy. The government can also manage the economy through fiscal policy, is the decision on spending, government's decision on spending. They want to increase or decrease spending, and tax. They want to increase or decrease the tax. So we note that aggregate demand is composed of C plus I plus G plus the export. So government can directly decide whether they want to increase or decrease the spendings. So suppose the government want to increase spending of $1 in town square. So spending of $1. So now there's two impacts on the economy. On the one hand, spend $1 say to purchase a service from Mike, suppose. So now at this point in time, the aggregate demand increase by $1. Okay. Mike has additional $1 income, so he's gonna save part of them and consume part of them. Suppose propensity to consumption is consumption propensity. %60, which means that they will consumers will spend 60% of their income in the consumption. So Mike will purchase fruits from John, say, by spending 60 cents. So at this point in time, the aggregate demand is equal to $1 plus 60 cents, so it's $1.6. John again has income increased by 60%, 60 cents. So he will use 60%, consume 60%, say purchasing from Mary. So that's $0.6. $0.6 multiplied by 60%, so So $0.36. So at this point, the aggregate demand is 1 plus 0.6 plus 0.36. So it's $1.96. And this process can keep occurring. So in the end, the aggregate demand increased by more than $1. So it's $1 divided by 0.6, 60%. So it's roughly, let me use my calculator. So it's 1.67. So now the government inject $1 into the local economy. The total aggregate demand increased by more than $1, increased by $1.67. So we call this increase in government spending has a multiplier effect. So the government increase spending has a multiplier effect. Inject $1, in the end, the aggregate demand increased by more than $1. The second effect, the government increased spending can also have a crowding out effect. For example, the government is a big player in the economy. So if government spend a lot, that may crowd out private investment. Okay. Usually, we assume that when G increases, government increase spending, the aggregate demand, the net effect on the aggregate demand is positive. If G increases, the aggregate demand will increase in the end. And similarly, if government cuts, government can also choose to say cut spending, then aggregate demand decreases. So that's G. Government can also affect the aggregate demand indirectly. Through tax. For example, government decides to cut the tax rate, income tax decreases. This means that consumers have more disposable income in their pocket. So consumption will increase, so aggregate demand will increase. Alright, this is all about this week, and I'll provide next week's lecture summary in due course.